Welcome back. Today we've got a very cool knife from the Chaves lineup. So I've always been a fan of Raymond Chaves's knives. I met him at a show a few years ago. We didn't talk much, but he was there and we did talk and chat for a few. And I really liked a lot of their offerings. Now, we're just going to get it out of the way right now. One of the biggest drawbacks to a lot of people, not me, is this skull clip. People hate it. They've had to go to aftermarket and they just change it. And I've had many people say, I just won't own one because of the skull pocket clip. Well, in this version, you get in the box a standard clip. If you so choose, you can change that and away you go. So we'll just throw that out there. And this is the packaging you get in their Ultramar series, which is their production run made by Riot. Nicely fit, high density foam, knife fits right in, easy to get out, and a spot for the clip. Whichever clip you want to not use, you can just store there and you don't lose the clip later. Genius. If you don't like the skull clip, I don't really have a problem with it, honestly. I like this better than if they had put their logo or the name of the company down the clip and things like that, which I see a lot of companies do. I hate the branding on the clip. Not because I don't want anybody to know there's a knife in my pocket, because let's be real. Everybody knows there's a knife in your pocket when they see the clip hanging out. What else is it going to be? Like, we don't need to try to hide it. We don't need to disguise it. We don't need a deep carry clip so people don't know we've got a knife. Oh. But I really don't like when it says Benchmade or ZT or zero tolerance or, whatever. And I don't have one here within reach to show an example because I didn't plan ahead and think I was going to talk about that. But I don't have a problem with the skull. It looks fine in the pocket. I don't have a problem with it. But I think it's nice that they include a standard clip now with this particular model, or at least this particular edition of the model, because this is a special edition Scapegoat. So the name of this one is the Chaves Scapegoat. This is the Chaves Knife Group exclusive, and we'll zoom in really quick. This is fantastic. I love this red carbon fiber scales. I guess I'm not exactly sure what it is, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a carbon fiber with red inlay something, right? It's beautiful. And let me tell you, you cannot, even with your nail, you can kind of feel a seam between the titanium and the inlay. It's beautiful. The fit and finish on this knife and pretty much every other knife I've ever handled from Riot is exceptional. Now, if I wanted to nitpick on something, the hardware does stand proud. I would have preferred some countersunk hardware to really just smooth that out with the scale and the titanium frame. That, to me, that would have just been next level. I love the milling on the thumb stud. As you can see, it's M390, and we'll get into all the specs here in just a second. But this was loaned in from my good buddy Cliff up in Alaska, and it's just a great example of a Chaves knife. Super awesome. So let's zoom back out. So it is 4 3/8 closed, 7 3/4 overall, 3.37 inch blade, 2.95 cutting edge, M390, as we said before, 0.159 blade thickness, 0.548 overall thickness, minus the clip, always minus the clip. Whenever I measure, it's always minus the clip. And it runs on bearings, so it is super smooth action. It's a drop shut, but not a guillotine drop shut. It's a controlled and nice fluid drop shut. Okay. Also, how I measure the blade, just so people are aware, because if you look this one up, it's going to say it's a 3.5-inch blade. I don't know how makers measure stuff. Some measure from the center of the pivot to the tip of the blade. Others measure from the edge of the scale to the tip of the blade. I measure from the edge of the scale to the tip of the blade. So the measurements I give on all of my videos are always from the edge of the scale, the highest point of the edge. So sometimes let me see if I've got anything here that kind of can talk about that. Like this one here, I measure this one from the very tip here out, right? So it's not from the lowest point. It's from the highest point of the scale to the tip of the blade is always how I measure that. The edge is always just from the heel to the tip, of course. Thicknesses, that stuff all kind of just makes sense, right? And then I weigh it. And this one I don't know that I mentioned is 5.1 ounces, which, to give some perspective on weight, a standard D-cell battery is 5 ounces. So you're basically carrying a D-cell battery in your pocket. I just try to kind of relate weights and sizes to things that you are kind of accustomed to in your daily life, just because I think comparing it to a different knife that you may or may not know about doesn't do you much good. If I tell you, well, it's the same weight as a Hellraiser and you don't have a Hellraiser, you wouldn't know. Same with the size comparisons. If you're not familiar with this Hellraiser P series, this doesn't give you a lot of perspective, right? I mean, so if I tell you that it's the same size as a Sharpie, or here it is next to a Sharpie, you kind of get that because everybody has used a Sharpie. So you kind of have some perspective there. A AA battery, the D-cell battery. Again, just trying to kind of really give you guys some practical size comparisons. I don't know that comparing it to other knives is necessarily the best thing. Sometimes it is. Like the Spyderco Delica is a very commonly used size comparison knife, but a lot of people have never handled a Spyderco. So I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with the right things to compare to. A AA or a AAA flashlight from Olight, the i3T. This is custom Cerakoted for the donut motif, but again, it kind of gives you an idea of size. Or how about the AA Olight i5T in Timascus? Again, just a kind of a random size comparison. But this fits great in the hand. The pocket clip works perfectly. The skull clip one, I did not switch it because it's not mine. But this one does work. And the fit and finish on everything I've ever seen from Riot is incredible. So, I don't know, there you go. This is a quick look. These are pretty much sold out from what I've seen. The standard ones that were all just titanium were like $335, I think, on some websites that I saw where they're sold out. This Chaves Knife Group exclusive, I have no idea what it costs. I don't know if they've got other ones with the inlays or if that was only the run for that group. But yeah, at some point, I would like to have a Chaves in my collection. I really like the 228 and 229s. So I would probably go that route, I think. But the Scapegoat is actually pretty cool, and I like it a lot. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day, and please come back tomorrow because there will be some more cool stuff. I guarantee it. Thanks, guys.